Yesterday, I introduced you to my pet hermit crab, whose name was Hermit. So today, I thought I would read you a book called A House for Hermit Crab. And this will teach us how a hermit crab searches for a new shell. The author who wrote the words is Eric Carle. Move, said Hermit Crab one day. I've grown too big for this little shell. It was scary to go out in the sea to look for a new shell. What if a big fish comes along and attacks me? I must find a new house soon. Early in February, Hermit Crab found just the house he was looking for. It was a big shell and strong. He moved right in, wiggling and waggling about inside to see how it felt. It felt just right, but it just looked so plain, thought Hermit Crab. So here's the shell. It was a good fit, but he didn't like the way it looked. It was too plain. In March, Hermit Crab met some sea plants. They swayed gently back and forth in the water. How beautiful you are, said Hermit Crab. Would you be willing to come and live on my house? It is so plain it needs you. I'll come, said one of the sea plants. Gently, Hermit Crab picked it up with his claw and put it on his shell. In April, Hermit Crab passed some starfish moving slowly across the sea floor. How handsome you are, said Hermit Crab. Would one of you be willing to decorate my house? I would, signaled a little sea star. Carefully, Hermit Crab picked it up with his claw and put it on his house. In May, Hermit Crab discovered some coral. They were hard and didn't move. How pretty you are, said Hermit Crab. Would one of you be willing to help make my house more beautiful? I would, squeaked Crusty Coral. Gingerly, Hermit Crab picked it up with his claw and placed it on his shell. In June, Hermit Crab came to a group of snails crawling over a rock on the ocean floor. They grazed as they went, picking up algae and bits of debris, and leaving a neat path behind them. How tidy and hard-working you are, said Hermit Crab. Would one of you be willing to come and help clean my house? I would, offered one of the snails. Happily, Hermit Crab picked it up with his claw and placed it on his shell. In July, Hermit Crab came upon several sea urchins. They had sharp, prickly needles. How fierce you look, said Hermit Crab. Would one of you be willing to protect my house? I would, answered a spiky sea urchin. Carefully, Hermit Crab picked it up with his claw and placed it near his shell. In August, Hermit Crab and his friends wandered into a forest of seaweed. It's so dark in here, thought Hermit Crab. How dim it is, he murmured. How gloomy it is, whispered the starfish. How murky it is, complained the coral. I can't see, said the snail. It's like nighttime, cried the sea urchin. In September, Hermit Crab spotted a school of lanternfish darting through the water. How bright you are, said Hermit Crab. Would one of you be willing to light up our house? I would, replied one lanternfish, and it swam over near the shell. In October, Hermit Crab approached a pile of smooth pebbles. How sturdy you are, said Hermit Crab. Would you mind if I rearranged you? Not at all, answered the pebbles. Hermit Crab picked them up one by one with his claw and built a wall around his shell. Now my house is perfect, cheered Hermit Crab. In November, Hermit Crab felt that his shell seemed a little bit too small. Little by little over the year, Hermit Crab had grown. Soon he would have to find another bigger home. But he had come to love his friends, the sea plant, the starfish, the coral, the sea urchin, the snail, the lanternfish, and even the smooth pebbles. They have been so good to me, thought Hermit Crab. They are like a family. How can I ever leave them? In December, a smaller hermit crab passed by. I have outgrown my shells, she said. Would you know of a place for me? I have outgrown my house too, answered Hermit Crab. I must move on. You are welcome to live here, but you must promise to be good to my friends. I promise, said the little crab. The following January, Hermit Crab stepped out and the little crab moved in. Couldn't stay in that little shell forever, said Hermit Crab as he waved goodbye. The ocean floor looked wider than he had remembered, but Hermit Crab wasn't afraid. Soon he spied a perfect house, a big empty shell. It looked, well, a little plain, but sponges, he thought, barnacles, clownfish, sand dollars, electric eels. Oh, there are so many possibilities. I can't wait to get started. So here's the new plain shell he's going to move into. The end. So that's what happens with hermit crabs. Just like you and I, hermit crabs grow. So when I got Herman, I've had him for 2 years. When I first got him, he was in a different shell than the red one you saw him in yesterday. Then, after a little while, he grew bigger and moved into the red shell that he has. Next, he's going to move into an even bigger shell, like the one that I have sitting in his cage for him. Hermit crabs like to have a couple options, so they go around and they stand on top of it and they feel in and make sure that there's enough room for them. So this is probably about the size he'll move into next. And eventually, if he keeps growing and growing, maybe someday he'll move into a shell that's this big. I guess we'll just have to see. See you guys next time. Bye.